Hello, thank you so much for your patience. We are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Formula Grant Electronic Application System for Indian Education Part 1 webinar for school year 2015-16. My name is Angela Rossler, and I support the Partner Support Center. I also have Zach Arnold from EASIE on the line, as well as a few representatives from the Office of Indian Education who will be assisting in answering questions. If questions throughout the duration of this presentation, please do not hesitate to enter your questions in the questions panel so that we can make sure to address them as they come in. We'll be answering any additional questions as time permits at the end of this webinar. As well as the audio recording of today's meeting will be available in our next broadcast message, which should be sent out later this week. You can contact the Partner Support Center to request a copy of these slides as well as the audio recording. Covering a number of topics, which include some general information as well as some features of the EASIE system. We will discuss student counts and the E506 form. We will review some important information, general reminders, and upcoming dates into a live demo so that we can all actually see what Part 1 consists of. And all of these screenshots, or all of the screenshots of what we will be reviewing in the live demo can be found under the last section of the PowerPoint named Formula Grant EASIE Process. The Formula Grant Electronic Application System for Indian Education, also known as EASIE, is the online system for submitting and processing your application for Indian Education Formula Grants. The data you will be submitting is stored directly into the database, which lessens the time it to get to the data analysis phase. The EASIE is divided into two parts, with each part having a separate open period to access it. One opened yesterday, January 26th, and will close Friday, February 27th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you can see, Part 2 open and close dates are not yet available, but will be announced through a broadcast message as soon as they have been confirmed. All closing dates are published in the Federal Register, and the information published there is firm. Applicants must meet the deadlines for both Part 1 and Part 2 to receive the grant. Any application that does not meet Part 1-2 deadlines will not be considered for funding. Although failure to submit the required supplemental documentation by the Part 1 or 2 deadlines will also result in an incomplete application that will not be considered for funding. Part enables you to select your applicant type and to submit your Indian student count by category and total. It also allows you to select the time span for its project objectives, either be 1 year or multi-year. Part provides your initial award calculation based on the Indian student count total submitted under Part 1, and it also enables you to select the objectives, corresponding activities, and data sources for measuring progress towards those objectives, as well as building a realistic program budget. 3 types of user roles that an applicant's account can permit: general user, managing user, and certifying official. A general user may submit student count or application data to help complete the application, but they cannot submit the application by certifying it. They cannot create new versions to replace what has been submitted, but the permissions do allow these users to upload the required forms into the system. May submit application data as well as certify the application. This user is the only user role that allows new versions of the application to be created. Each applicant must have at least one managing user. This needs to be identified as a school district employee and cannot be a contractor. Official may not submit student count or application data into the system. This user role only allows the ability to upload required documentation as well as certify the final grant application. With this user role should be an authorized representative of the entity, such as a superintendent or a principal. must also be a school district employee and cannot be a contractor. Some users can certify as a backup to the certifying official, but whenever possible, the user determined to have the highest authority should be the person to certify the application. Entities are encouraged to place the responsibility for certifying the application as high up within the organization as possible. Always be aware that OIE has updated the certification assurances, which are located on the certification screen. I would make sure to review this before certifying. The application duration. Start fiscal year 2014 application cycle. Applicants can choose to enter into a multi-year application or complete a single-year application. The single application process remains unchanged, but the multi-year application allows new applicants to establish and work towards the same project objectives and corresponding activities and services over a 4-year period of the application. We ask applicants to apply for the multi-year application. It improves the ability to collect data on project success, enhances long-term planning, and it also ensures project continuity in case of staff turnover. Start fiscal year 2015, grantees who established multi-year project objectives will not have to re-enter information in EASIE Part 2 if they have no changes to their project objectives, activities, or coordination of services. Or whether you did a multi or single year application last year, please view your school year 2014-15 application, which can be found on the main screen of the system. Or always, please feel free to contact PSE and we will be happy to assist you. This is the quick 5-step process to assist in completing in Part 1. First, we'll need to select the application duration option, whether it be single year or multi-year. And for continuing applicants, they will need to indicate if they wish to continue with their current application or wish to start a new application duration. Can then provide the number breakdown of eligible Indian students and the total number of all students enrolled in the applying entity. The person deemed responsible by the entity will review the data in preparation for application certification. Finally, the certifying official for the entity will certify the application. As a reminder, any tribe applying in lieu of an LEA must upload a completed evidence of eligibility PDF form prior to certifying Part 1. The system will not allow you to certify without completing this task. To the student count data that you will be submitting in Part 1 of the application. In order to participate in the Title VII Indian Education Formula Grant Program, eligible applicants must determine the number of Indian children enrolled and must have a minimum of 10 eligible Indian students enrolled in the district during our specified count period. You need to have a complete in-student eligibility certification form, which is also known as the ED 506 form, for a student to include that student in their Indian count. The student enrollment rosters must cover that same period of time indicated in the submitted count period. Each child included in the count must be listed on the enrollment rosters for at least 1 day during their count period. So as a reminder, students that enroll after the Part 1 close period may not be included or added to the Part 1 count for that year. Example of what the ED 506 form looks like. This is the official document for certifying tribal membership, and a blank form can actually be found under the Getting Started button within your application. The ED 506 form must be completed, signed, and dated by either the child's parent or guardian. It will not be altered and must be filled out in its entirety. If these are not completed, the form will not be valid and that student cannot be included in the student count. if a student should be counted, the definition of Native American has been provided at the top of this form and can be found here. Here need to be categorized as to which tribe, band, or group each Indian student falls under. An ED 506 form does not have to be completed each year as long as a signed form is on file and there is documentation that that student was enrolled during the count period. These do not need to be submitted into the system or to OIE, but they be maintained at the school. Applicants are required to submit the total number of federally recognized, state-recognized, and terminated tribes and organized Indian groups that meet the program's definition of Indian. Definitions of these categories can all be found in the Part 1 FAQ. Reminder, BIE schools continue to have the option of documenting their Indian student count by either maintaining student ED 506 forms or using the Indian School Equalization Program, also known as ISEP, as daily membership counts. So here, where applicants will be entering their student count for each category as well as enter their count period. The CAN is the duration of time during the current school year in which the eligible Indian students enrolled in the district are counted to determine the applicant's funds for the formula grant program. Will fire errors if the period entered exceeds 31 consecutive days, if it is a future date, or does not fall between the count period, which is August 1st, 2014, and February 28th, 2015. Will not be able to continue until all errors have been corrected. For and tribes applying in lieu of multiple LEAs, applicants must input the same count period for each LEA. We will discuss this further during the live demo of the application. Now for information. There's absolutely no accommodations for applications that are not certified by the February 27th deadline. For all tribes applying in lieu of an LEA, the system will prevent certification of a student count until their evidence of eligibility PDF form has successfully uploaded to the system. OI recommends that all documents and forms be uploaded at least 3 days in advance of their certification deadline. Also, please make sure to update any project information, such as contacts or NCES or DUNS numbers if they have changed. Updates can only be made during the open period. Once the Part 1 has closed, an entity may decrease their submitted Indian student count, but ending of the count is not permitted. Here are the open and close dates as well as webinar dates for Part 1. Official dates have been posted in the Federal Register notice, and an email notification with a link to this notice has been sent out. And the date Part 2 will be provided after they have been confirmed. Project period. Applicants must submit a performance report, including financial information as directed by the Secretary. We'll use new annual performance review that is designed for these Indian education formula grants, and more information on this report is available at the link provided here. EASIE is developing 3 short instructional videos to assist applicants in completing their applications. The videos will focus on frequently asked questions from prior years and will cover the following topics: to enter student count, how to complete the ED 506 form, and how to calculate average daily attendance. These videos will be posted using PSE's YouTube channel, and links to these videos will be included in a future EASIE broadcast message. During the application process, please feel free to contact the Partner Support Center. PS will distribute regular broadcasts, providing EASIE applicants with updates and also reaching out to applicants as deadlines approach to ensure that everyone complete each part of their application and do not miss out on any funding. We are able to answer questions. Hours of operation are from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday to Friday, except for federal holidays. So first part of today's webinar. So if everyone can just bear with me for a few moments, I'm going to pull up the Eden system to access part 1 of the formula grant application so that we can walk through the steps of the application process. Thank you for your patience. Let's go ahead and get started. We are viewing the Eden system login screen where the EASIE application will be completed. Here, you will be entering the user ID and password that have been provided to you via email. Credentials were sent to each user that is listed in your or listed for your entity yesterday. So if for some reason you have not received your login credentials, please contact the Partner Support Center so that we can assist you in successfully accessing your application. As an FYI, the application we are using today is not the actual application for the specified entity. This is just a test account. After logging into the system, applicants will be directed to this home screen. Here you will see that there is a left navigation panel, which does links to the main parts of EASIE. Here, users will be able to change their password, get PA contact information, and access part 1 of their application. Applicant can also retrieve Getting Started documents by selecting this Getting Started button. You will be able to access the official Getting Started and FAQ documents, as well as download and print blank sample forms, such as the Parent Committee Approval Form, which will be submitted in Part 2, the ED 506 form, as well as the Evidence of Eligibility, and other supporting documentation that you might need. Grant EASIE Part 1 tab will route you to the main screen to access Part 1. See, the upper right portion of the main screen displays a menu with the EASIE data entry section. For one, there is only one section, which includes entering the applicant type and student count. Here, you can see that the current status, here you can view the current status of the application, whether it be not started, started, or finished. When logging in for the first time, you will see that you are in a not started status. For the demonstration, we will be reviewing the application process for a returning multi-year applicant who is on year 2 of 4 of their application. This is the applicant type that contains the most changes for school year 2015-16, so we wanted to focus on those changes for this demonstration. If you applicant, screens detailing the Part 1 process are provided in the PowerPoint presentation that we will send out. In the application will be reflected at the top of the screen here. Applicants can also view and or print a PDF or HTML version of their current application at any time as they work through Part 1. All applicable applicants can view their submitted application from school year 2014-15. Here is that same Getting Started button where you can easily access supporting documents. So application process, applicants need to select Section 1.0, applicant type, and student count. Your status on the main screen will change from not started to started. After Section 1.0, all users will view the quick 5-step process screen that outlines Part 1, which was discussed earlier in this presentation. So here are one of the changes to the application process for multi-year 2 of 4 applicants. This screen is extremely important. Applicants want to confirm if they want to continue with their current multi-year application or start a new application. If applicants do not wish to continue with their current multi-year application and they want to start a new application, they select this radio button here and then continue, which will navigate them to this screen right here. They need to confirm their request to discontinue their current multi-year application. If you should discontinue, select yes, and the system will direct you back to select your duration, whether it be a single year or new multi-year application. If you do not wish to continue, or you do not wish to discontinue, no, and the system will revert users back to the previous page to indicate that they want to continue with their current multi-year application. If the applicant chooses to start a new multi-year application, they will press on the previous screen, but there is no way to revert back to their year 2 of 4 multi-year application. All information that was submitted last year will be lost, so it is critical that applicants ensure that the correct multi-year option is selected here. Again, for this presentation, we will continue with our current multi-year 2 of 4 application. For returning applicants, you're aware that Part 2 of the application process allows users to compare their program services and objectives from one year to another. Here, returning applicants will need to indicate if they intend to make any changes to the entity's program services or objectives in Part 2. If the applicant decides to make changes to more than just their coordinated services, which would use 2 options below, this will require the applicant to start a new application. They will not be able to move forward with their current 2 of 4 multi-application. We're going to go back, and I'm going to select the option which states that we intend some changes will be made to the description of coordination of services. This is going to allow you to continue, and there is no action item for that selection in this section, but again, this will be revisited in Part 2 of the application process. Applicants will have their applicant type pre-filled with the submitted in last year's year 1 of 4 application. Also note that I have not been selecting the Save button for each section. I'm encouraging the use of this button, but the system will save entered data and selections made for each section and navigate through by selecting the Continue button. Actual student count submissions. When this screen, you will see that your entity information has been pre-populated right here, and there are manual entry fields to enter the number breakdown of eligible Indian children in 4 categories. Again, the definition of these categories can be found in the Part 1 FAQ. The count period is going to be entered in here as well. The count period is a duration of time during the current school year where the eligible Indian students enrolled in the district are counted to determine applicants' funds for the formula grant program. If your account period in these fields that exceeds 31 consecutive days or includes a future date, you will receive an error message. All not fall between August 1st, 2014 and February 28th, 2015, you also receive an error message. So I'm going to enter in 100 federally recognized tribes, 50 state recognized, and we will keep these 2 categories at 0. A possible error message I'm going to enter in October of 2014 and make period end October 3rd, 2014. And there we go. We should receive an error message indicating that this count period cannot exceed 31 days. Enter in a future date. Receive an error message. It cannot be a future date. It cannot exceed 31 days, and it must fall within this date range. Reset this to in the parameters, and I continue at this point. Please check PSE if you run into any issues when entering your count period. FYI, tribes applying in lieu of single or multiple LEAs, as well as LEA consortium leaders, are required to submit their student count and count period for each LEA. And for these applications, you see an Add LEA button here, and we'll elect this to do so. Applicants can add as many LEAs necessary, and also have the ability to delete specific LEAs that have been entered. Please note that although the system is going to ask for the count period for each LEA, please ensure that the count period for all LEAs is consistent. Then populate the total Indian count submitted on the previous screen, which is right here. And applicants will enter in the total number of all students, both Indian and non-Indian, that enrolled in the applying entity. The number of all students must be equal or greater than the total Indian count. Try to enter in a number that is less than my total Indian count. You'll receive an error message and will not be able to continue. After and count period are entered, the person deemed responsible by the entity will need to review the data in preparation for the application certification. This is accessing the PDF or HTML on the main screen can come in handy. You print the started application and provide that to who is asked to review the entered data. After submitted data, applicants will need to indicate if they are finished with their data entry. If additional changes need to be made, you can select No and navigate through each section by using the back button. When selected, you can navigate to the main screen by selecting Continue, and your status has changed from started to finished, which means that the certification process can begin. Only users or certified officials can access this Start Certification button by the application. To start the certification process, we will select Start Certification. And for Part 1 is critical because your application is not considered complete and will not be transmitted to the Department of Education until it is certified. As noted, uncertified applicants will not be awarded grant funds. I would like to emphasize that a finished status is not the same as a certified status. Again, tribe applying in lieu of an LEA must upload their completed evidence of eligibility PDF form prior to being able to certify Part 1. And this will not allow you to certify without completing this task. And the Certify button will not be enabled until that form is uploaded. So there will be an Upload Forms button on this screen, and you'll just need to follow the steps after selecting that button to get it uploaded. Again, here is the updated certification assurances that OIE has updated. I would suggest reviewing this before certifying. Certify, all you need to do is select the I Certify button. You have this screen here, which indicates that your application has been certified and submitted to the Department of Education. Our system will navigate you back to this main screen and will provide a date and time stamp of when the application was officially certified and submitted to the Department of Education. If you do not see this date and time stamp, this means that your entity application has not been certified. If you're unsure if you are certified, check if you see this date and time stamp. Also, there is a PDF and HTML version of the submitted application, and for tribes applying in lieu of an LEA, PDF of the submitted evidence of eligibility form will also be displayed here as well. Application is certified. No updates can be made to the data without creating a new version. Again, a managing user can create a new version of the application. That's why it is necessary to assign this user role to at least one individual within your district. Are determined that need to be made. The managing user will then select the Create New Version button. And they do, in fact, want to create a new version. Indicate that all data has been transferred over from the previous version to the new version. And to select this Part 1 tab right here, you will go back to the main screen and you will see that your status has changed from finished back to started. Once the application is certified, all users will receive a confirmation email indicating that they have certified their application. To print and or save a copy of your application once you have certified, because as soon as the application period closes, you will no longer have access to print or download what you have submitted. So for a live demonstration of the application process for Part 1, we're going to go ahead and just take a few minutes to see if there are any questions that we can address at this time. Thank you for your patience, everyone. We received a request to walk through the creating a new version process one more time. So bear with me. I'm going to navigate the application and specify it so that we have the ability to create a new version. Thanks. Okay, so once an EASIE application has been certified, no updates can be made to that data without creating a new version. And again, only a managing user can create a new version of this application. When the user selects Create New Version, all the data that was submitted in the initial version will be transferred over to this new version. You will ask that you do, in fact, want to continue with creating a new version, and then select Continue. Here, navigated back to the main screen, and you will be able to your application process over again. By which section, you will see that everything has been pre-populated with what was submitted in the first initial version. But if any updates to your submitted count numbers, and navigate through, you'll see that this number has been pre-populated with the updated number. I will update my all student count number. And review the data that has been submitted. And you are finished with part 1. After version, you will see, and please excuse the .6, it should be .1, but it will show you the version number as indicated for each version type created. After completed and any updates have been made, you can start the certification process again. Click the Certify button, would resubmit that updated version to the Department of Education. At that time, if you want to navigate to the main screen, you will see an updated timestamp indicating that that new version has been successfully certified. Stay with me for a few more minutes. We're going to see if there are any other questions. Thank you.
This is Zach Arnold, just letting you know that we still are answering questions from the questions log. We've got about 12 more minutes left in our webinar, so we will answer as many questions as we can until the top of the hour. If you're unable to ask your question or you think of anything that you're not able to ask after the 1 o'clock time, feel free to give PSC a call directly at 877-573336, and we're happy to research your questions individually and get you the answers that you need. Stay on for another 10 minutes or so, so please do ask questions if you still have them. Thank you. And that's going to conclude today's Formula Grant EASIE technical webinar. I do appreciate all of the questions and the active participation that we've got throughout the webinar. There are some questions in the questions log that we weren't able to answer today, in fact, several of them. So we'll go ahead and do our research and make sure we answer all the questions and include all the questions that were answered today, whether they were answered or not, questions log that we send out with the next broadcast email. But if you need an answer quicker than that in immediate turnaround, feel free to give PSC a call. Once again, our number is 877-457-3336. Thank you much for everyone's participation today, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.